you buy a house in 2023? Answer might surprise you. This is a hard question to answer because it has a lot to do with your situation. Here's the deal. If you own a home at a 2% interest rate, congratulations. The chances of us getting to 2% or even 3% again is extremely low, almost statistically impossible low. So if you're waiting for rates to get down to 2% or 3%, probably not going to happen. So there's always going to be that underlying problem that people are always going to have. Rates are too high, prices are too high, whatever the case is. So people wait. And then what happens when they wait, prices end up going higher. So then they end up paying, $10, $20, $30,000 more for a home than they would have if they just moved sooner. So that's the thing, is if you're going to move in 5 years, it's almost always better to do it now. You're almost always going to save more money doing it sooner, because over the last 30 years, the average appreciation rate in Utah is somewhere between 5 and 6%. Okay. And that's including the '08 crisis. So let's say a $500,000 home in 5 years, you're going to be paying over $125,000. So that $500,000 home is now worth $625,000. Okay. Because you waited. Versus if you bought it now at $500,000, you would have saved yourself $125,000. Okay. And here's the thing. If you own a home at a 2% rate, it's probably best to not sell it. I make a lot of money selling homes and helping people buy homes. But in a lot of cases, I recommend my clients to actually keep their home because of the low interest rate, because they could put a renter in there and help offset the mortgage in the new home that they're moving into, right? And then when rates eventually come down, whether they're coming down to 6, 5, or 4%, whatever the case is, and prices start increasing because of that, if they decide to sell their older home, they actually end up making more money that way too. The average purchase price back in April, when the market was crazy, was $657,000. And that's when rates were 3 or 4%, which was awesome. Okay. As of today, the average sold price in Utah is $624,000. That takes this entire month, and rates are over 7% for a conventional loan. So even though rates have doubled, our home prices haven't come down very much from our peak. Okay. And I feel like a lot of people don't quite understand that, because they see, people aren't able to afford homes, so that means prices are going to come down. Well, they do come down, but guess what? We have people moving in from California. We have people moving in from Nevada, Idaho, Virginia, believe it or not, New York, all over the place, and they're coming here. We were one of the fastest growing states per the last census. We have tons of people moving in here, and a lot of those people have more money than the average Utahn, which is making prices go up. That's just how things work, right? So that's the problem with waiting. I wouldn't, if you're going to buy a home within the next 5 years, for sure, if you can afford it right now, meaning you can afford the payments. Hell, if you talk to me, I could probably get you an interest rate buy down to help with your payments. That way, when rates do come down, you're able to refinance and get you a possibly better rate. That's the thing. If you're going to buy a home within the next 5 years, do it now. If you own a home at 2% interest rate, it's probably going to be a better idea to keep it rather than selling it. A lot of people don't like being landlords. Totally understandable. I promise you're going to make more money doing that. But if you don't want to be, more than happy to sell your house. But I will advise you, it's better to keep it. Just because instead of appreciating on one property, you're going to appreciate on 2 properties, and you're most likely going to cash flow on your primary residence, your original primary residence. So, and there's a lot of other options. There's a ton of house hacks out there. There's actually a builder who builds homes with ADUs, legal ADUs. And if you don't know what an ADU is, it's called an accessory dwelling unit. It's basically a basement apartment. It has its own separate entrance, probably separate parking as well. And you can get those in the mid 6s pretty easily. There's 2 builders that do that, one in Utah County and another one in Tooele County. So if you're worried about payments, there's a lot of options out there to help offset them. My strategy right now is going after new builds. I feel like new builds is the best place to get a deal right now. Whether you're in commercial or residential, sellers just have a really high expectation still. Plus, a lot of builders right now are paying for closing costs, which is a bonus for sure. What I'm doing on my home that I own currently is I'm intending to live in it for a year, and I'm going to be putting another new build under contract that's going to take about 8 to 9 months to be finished. That way I can move straight into my new build home after my 12 months is up. That allows me to kind of see what the market's going to do. Worst case scenario, the market goes super sideways or I lose my job, then, I'm able to back out and not lose very much earnest money. But yeah, like I said, if you're going to buy within the next couple of years, do it sooner.